Roll for Crit is made possible thanks to the support of viewers like you and our patrons on our Patreon page.
You can become a patron for just $1 a month at patreon.com/rollforcrit.
It's Kickstarter Pickstarter time, which means we're here to tell you what are the coolest and what seem the most innovative board game related Kickstarters on the crowdfunding website. Let's see what it has to offer for the week of August 10th, 2020.
Starting off with what is technically our only game campaign this week on Kickstarter, it's Sniper Elite, the board game. This is based on the video game series, which, to be honest, I didn't know existed. I had never heard of it before seeing this, but I thought it was an interesting concept. One player is going to be taking on the role of the hidden movement style player while everyone else is searching for them. And that player is an allied sniper, and everyone else is a German soldier trying to track that sniper down. So if you're familiar with something like Spectre Ops, this certainly reminded me of that style of game where the sniper has their own map, they are moving across it secretly, while the other soldiers are trying to find them and trying to narrow down their position. What separates this one a little bit to me from some other versions of this genre is that the sniper actually can readily attack those soldiers. Of course, he is a sniper. He's got a sniper rifle. That's part of his shtick. So that's something you can do is fire at the other soldiers from a distance. You can also pick up items by looting different rooms that will help you in different ways. And you're trying to complete your objectives while the soldiers are trying to stop you and either stall you long enough so that time runs out or wound you a certain number of times and then you lose. There's also a solo mode for this game wherein you play as the sniper against AI-controlled opponents. Had you ever heard of this video game before, Will?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know if, because I remember there was a sniping arcade game. I don't know if that's what this was.
I don't know.
It could be one of those things that they could have did a different title. I do like the idea of it, mostly because a lot of those hidden roll movements of the 1v all, it's usually more of a game of cat and mouse where the mouse really has nothing too much to deal with. Even in Spectre Ops, you know, I think I think he's like Snake or Cobra is his code word. He's like the ninja and he can strike people, but he only stuns them.
Right. It's you're much more about just hiding and sneaking. This one, you kind of have a more active approach to it, it seems like. And yeah, when I first saw it, I expected it to be like, you know, you are all snipers and you're aiming at targets. I didn't expect this genre at all, but it's cool. It's an interesting twist on it. And I'm curious to see how it plays out. It goes for about $53 US. If you want to check it out, it's Sniper Elite.
This next Kickstarter may be a little late for some of us because by the time you're watching this, a bunch of the tiers may have already sold out. That's the Wyrmwood Modular Gaming Table. And this is, as the title suggests, a table for gaming that is modular with different pieces. You can get different sizes and, of course, add different components to it. It looks really amazing. And what's crazy about it is their goal was $1 million. And as of this recording, it looks like they're going to hit $4 million. It seems, according to the comic section, everyone was waiting for this because when this Kickstarter hit, everyone rushed because they had only certain number of pre-orders of people who can get the table like by August or certain dates. As of this recording, if you want a table, the earliest you can get it is October of next year. So it is pretty crazy how well this is done. I mean, the table does look really cool. They have like a coffee table. They have like a taller table that can go from like 4 players all the way to, I think, 10 if you stretch it out. I love the idea behind it, all the different components you can attach on. One of the ones I love is pretty much like a centerpiece. You can put it in between the table so that, like, let's say you have chips, they can be a little higher so they don't get mixed accidentally with the game components. And I know, Jonathan, one of the things you will love is...
Oh, you meant food chips, not game chips.
Yes, food chips. But I know one you'd love, Jonathan, is that the way that most of the table work is the felt part is sort of underneath it, sort of indented, and you can put pieces on top to make a regular table for dining, or in your case, to prevent cats from messing with the game pieces if we go out to get dinner.
Always good. Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of those kinds of modular tables with the different leaves and stuff. It's something that someday I think should strive to have somewhere in our set or in our personal lives. Now, the real question, though, is how much is this bad boy going to set us back?
Well, unfortunately, because of the word modular, there's so many weird things. It seems starting around $300 for like the coffee table with the, I think it's maple wood. But of course, you have all these different woods, including like a purple one I don't recognize. And of course, then you're getting different add-ons and stuff. But, you know, $300 seems like a lot, but some people are spending that to get a box of Double Masters of Magic, so... You know, let us know if you were one of the ones lucky enough to be able to get one of these tables this year, or if you're going to get one of the later pledges because you only found out about this now.
Here's a project called the Board Game Design Starter Kit, and it is exactly like it sounds. It is a kit that includes various components, dice, meeples, cards, and sleeves that you can use to create your very own board game. Essentially, it's a little kit so that you don't have to go into your other board games for parts if you're trying to design something, or so you don't have to go out to the craft store and try to figure out which of these pieces and stickers and whatever else may or may not work to fit my design. It's kind of generic, basic pieces, along with some other, some neat stuff, including like dry erase markers. It has a special ruler with cutout pieces so that you can trace, and you might want to cut out certain shapes of things for your game. It also has dice stickers, so some of the dice are blank, and you can put a sticker on it and draw whatever you need there to make it a brand new symbol or whatever your desire is for the dice that you are creating for this game. And then there's also a slight upgrade kit you can get, which comes with some more stuff, a bag with a drawstring, some extra meeples and tokens and things like that. It's a cool idea, I think, and you know, for people who are interested in designing board games, it would be a pretty easy way to get into it. Or I think also would be a great gift for an adult or a kid, like any creative person. It's kind of like Legos in a way, but very just like a big box of free form. You can jump into it and design whatever you want, which I think is fun.
I mean, I absolutely agree. Giving this to a kid might be very interesting, that they put their creative energies into this. I'd love to see what they come up with. Even if it's not perfect, it's still them designing something, learning how to make something work, why something, maybe then go over balancing and stuff like that with them. But this is also pretty good because think about all the Kickstarters we see. You know, in board games, there are a lot. So there's obviously a lot of people making board games. So this seems like there's a market for it.
Yeah, I would think so. And this comes from a guy named Gabe Barrett, who has done some interesting projects before, even had a book which featured game design advice from different publishers and designers. So maybe something to pair up with this one. It goes for $35 for that basic one. So check it out if you have an interest in design.
We've got one more accessory for you. This is for all the players out there who've been sick of having thousands of different meeples, tokens, or chips on the table and trying to organize them in all the space they take up. This is Token Sesame, the magic words that will help you organize your table in an instant. These are special modular token carriers that you either can make a long bar with and make different levels. They also show like a little carousel thing with a bigger ring on the bottom and a small one on top, making it very easy to pass these tokens around. They take up less space and easier to keep them organized. You can also use it to hold cards, and it's even possible to use it as a carrying case. So either A, to take a board game easier to a different location, or maybe even travel mid-game because you saved something that has a large campaign like Gloomhaven. Speaking of Gloomhaven, it's not simply just these black plastic containers. They actually got artists like the artists who did for Gloomhaven, Paladins of the Western Kingdom. They have all these different artists there. It's really cool. So this will also stand out as well. This is something I really like because organizing all this stuff can be a real pain. And they really made sure that you can connect it to fit what you want. You can easily dump these back in the bag, they said, which is also really great. I mean, it's something that if you like to play a lot of board games, you probably should look into.
Yeah, I have to say, usually I'm fine with just put them in a pile, all the tokens on the table. It doesn't bother me that much. But watching this video for this Kickstarter, it kind of sold me. It does look really, in some ways, it's almost like getting a board game organizer kit, but that fits all your board games. And instead of putting it away in a box, you just have it there all purpose. And I think that's really cool. And some of the stuff, even like there's spaces where you can roll dice into if you arrange it in certain ways, or store even your card decks. It's got a lot of cool uses to it, I think.
And for $69, you can get the full kit, as well as, of course, choose the artist piece you want. And they have an interactive novel. So
sure.
Yeah, why not? And of course, you can pledge more if you want more of these kits, maybe because you're playing a really, really big game. We know those big games out there that have too many tokens. I'm looking at you, Arkham Horror 2nd edition.
We had what I think are some really interesting accessories campaigns for board games this week. There are still some pretty good games up there, but I think some of them we either covered during Gen Con or we just didn't get around to from last week's when we didn't have a Kickstarter Pickstarter. But there's stuff like Vampire the Masquerade Rivals, Massive Darkness 2. There's a couple expansions I noticed for some games like Western Legends. So I'm sure there's more stuff that we didn't cover in this episode that if you're backing them right now, you can fill in the blanks in the comments section. Let us know what's going on.
Let us know if you've backed any of these games and if you're interested in any other Kickstarter we didn't mention. And of course, it'd be great if you can share this with friends so they can see what Kickstarters that may be interesting. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
And this has been Kickstarter Pickstarter.
Catch the latest from Roll for Crit by liking and subscribing and supporting us on Patreon.
You're not a hidden traitor, are you? Come on, like us.